Hi, I'm Mr. Lewis. This is Learn with Mr. Lewis. And on this episode, I'm breaking down the top 10 World War II movies. We're starting right now with number 10. Number 10 is a classic from 1976. It's Midway. Now, what do I love about this movie? First of all, it's got a great ensemble cast. It's led by Charlton Heston, but it's got Henry Fonda, Glenn Ford, Robert Mitchum, Tom Selleck, James Coburn, Glenn Ford. It's just a huge, huge cast of great actors. But beyond that, it does a great job of telling about the Battle of Midway, which is one of the pivotal battles in the history of the United States. It's where we turn things around in the Pacific against the Japanese. And even though not every single thing in the movie is accurate, you're never going to get that. It does such a fine job of illustrating the challenges in this battle. They spend a lot of time with Hal Holbrook leading this part of how they break the code in order to know that the Japanese are coming. I love the scene at the end of George Gay floating in the Pacific. The number 9 best movie of World War II is The Imitation Game. This is a movie from 2014 starring Benedict Cumberbatch, and he plays a real-life character, Alan Turing. And even though every single detail in the movie isn't exactly perfectly historically accurate, of course, you're never going to get that in any historical film, but the essence of it is very true. And it does a fantastic job of illustrating the difficulties of trying to come up a way to break the Enigma code. And of course, Alan Turing leads the way on this at Bletchley Park in England. And he's assisted in the movie by Keira Knightley and Matthew Goode. And it's just a great movie. It's a great movie about somebody who lived a very interesting and challenging life, somebody who was never really appreciated fully in his lifetime. But of course, his work not only helps win World War II, but it also helps us have modern computers. My number 8 World War II movie is one that may surprise some of you. It's from 2019. It's Jojo Rabbit. I love this movie. This movie is hilarious, but it's also powerful. It's satire at its finest. And Taika Waititi directs this movie. He also plays He also plays an imaginary Adolf Hitler. And what I mean by that, there's a boy named Jojo whose imaginary friend is Adolf Hitler. Sounds weird, but you got to watch the movie. Scarlett Johansson plays this boy's mother, and she is outstanding in this film. It does a great job of showing the war a bit from the German side and the brainwashing that went on and the Hitler Youth movement. And it does all of this in a powerful and inspiring way. And the movie is absolutely hilarious, as you would expect from Taika Waititi, but at the same time, there's a powerful message. Number 7 on my list of the best World War II movies is an absolute classic. It's from 1957. It's The Bridge on the River Kwai. In this film, you've got Alec Guinness, you've got William Holden. Alec Guinness, of course, most famous as Ben Kenobi from Star Wars. But it's a classic movie, and it tells, not the absolutely true story. It's a fictionalized version of the building of the Burma Railway by the Japanese, and they're using forced labor of prisoners of war, British prisoners of war, led by Alec Guinness. And what's so interesting in this movie is how Alec Guinness becomes totally caught up in this, to the point where he's going to show the world how the British do something. And so it becomes his task, he feels, to build the best railway bridge you could ever build. And it becomes a powerful movie. There's some great scenes, and it's Alec Guinness's best role. Number 6, there's no surprise that this one is on the list of the top 10 best World War II movies. It's Patton from 1970. And what I can say about this movie, first of all, George C. Scott is Patton. I mean, it's almost hard in my own mind to separate the two of them, because he becomes the man. It's a little bit like Daniel Day-Lewis in Lincoln, where they just become the person. And it's absolutely true in this movie. The opening scene is one of the greatest opening scenes in the history of film, with Patton in front of that huge American flag giving a speech. And I guess my favorite part of the speech would be the parts where he refers to excrement, whether it's being shoveled in Louisiana or it's going through a goose. Just some of the great lines in film history. Inspirational. I also love the scene in North Africa where Patton is essentially saying that he was at the Battle of Zama and that he's Hannibal. You got to see this movie if you haven't. The number 5 best World War II movie is directed by Clint Eastwood. It's from 2006. You might be thinking Flags of Our Fathers, but no, it's the companion movie to that, the superior movie, Letters from Iwo Jima. This is, of course, about the Battle of Iwo Jima, but it's from the perspective of the Japanese soldiers. And in fact, the film is in Japanese. So if you don't like reading subtitles, you got to get over it because this movie is great. Ken Watanabe is absolutely amazing as Lieutenant General Kuribayashi. The film is so powerful. It gives such a great sense of the struggle of the Japanese to deal with their cultural pressure to be the samurai and to fight to the death. And the final scene at the end where the letters are discovered is just wonderful. You need to see this movie. It'll give you a different perspective on World War II. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine. Yes, number 4 on the list of the best World War II movies is an absolute classic, 1942's Casablanca. Now, this movie stands as one of the great movies of all time, whether it's a World War II movie or not. But keep in mind, it's made in 1942, which means it was made during World War II. And in 1942 is long before the outcome of this war is known. So think about that when you watch this movie. Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, they are absolutely outstanding in this movie. Dooley Wilson performing as time goes by. And of course, the greatest line from this movie that's not actually in the movie, "Play it again, Sam." Not actually in the movie. But the final scene when Humphrey Bogart is saying goodbye to Ingrid Bergman in front of the plane, it's amazing. Here's looking at you, kid. The number 3 World War II movie is maybe the biggest Oscar snub of all time. It's Saving Private Ryan from 1998. Shakespeare in Love, really? Wow. Anyway, this is directed by Steven Spielberg, and the opening scene on Omaha Beach is movie magic. I mean, it transports you. It puts you in the shoes of these soldiers in a way that had never been done before. And I'm not trying to say that I understand now what it was like to be there, but man, this is as close as it can get. And it's just amazing. What a cast. Tom Hanks, Matt Damon, Tom Sizemore, Vin Diesel, Edward Burns, Barry Pepper. It's just a great movie. And of course, the scene where Tom Hanks is dying and he says, "Earn this." And then the final scene of the movie at the cemetery in Normandy, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. The number 2 all-time best World War II movie may surprise some of you, but it chronicles one of the pivotal events of World War II. It's from 2017. It's Dunkirk, directed by Christopher Nolan. I think what I love about this movie more than anything is just the feel. It is immersive. You feel this movie. You feel confused. You feel unsettled. And that is the purpose of it. It really gives you that sense. I absolutely love that. And you've got these various storylines that are confusing, especially the first time you watch the movie, and then they all come together in a powerful way. I think my favorite scenes are of Cillian Murphy and Mark Rylance on the boat trying to go and save some of these men from Dunkirk. I also love the scenes with Tom Hardy in the plane. It is just a spectacular movie, and even Harry Styles can't ruin it. And the number 1 World War II movie of all time is really no surprise. It's one of the greatest movies ever made. It is 1993's Schindler's List. And this movie is powerful. And it's about Oskar Schindler, played by Liam Neeson, Nazi industrialist who uses his influence to save the lives of over 1,000 Jews who would have otherwise been deported to Auschwitz and almost certain death. Much of the movie takes place in Krakow in the ghetto and the concentration camp. I think the standout performance is Ralph Fiennes as Emin Girth. He is absolutely evil, and he plays this role brilliantly. So much to love in this movie. The music by John Williams, performed by Itzhak Perlman. The final scene at the end with the Stones. It's just beautiful and powerful. And it inspires a great Seinfeld episode. Well, that's it. Do you agree with my ranking? Are there movies that you love that I left out? Do you enjoy hearing Patton talk about fecal matter as much as I do? Let me know in the comments. Do you want to see some more of Mr. Lewis? Of course you do. You're addicted. There's a great video here, another great video here, and you can subscribe right here. Do you want to see some more of Mr. Lewis? Of course you do. You're addicted.